Now we are moving to the cybersecurity part. So imagine that we've been talking about account managers, VCIOs, technical account managers, salespeople, and how cybersecurity experts are going to help to grow your company. And many times what you have is that you have the demand for new cybersecurity offerings and new type of solutions, but you are not always get paid. They expect something from you. They expect you take care of their IT security, but your contract is not really into that. So I would like to ask Caleb Christopher, who is leading Infosec Consulting as a new member of ours, to show us basically what needs to be done, and a little bit background of him. He was working for one of our clients before, and he really get into the security and the security offering, and he decided to go and do his own business and help other MSPs on framing, assessments, designing cybersecurity offerings, and sell cybersecurity offerings, and also deliver those. So he's a really sharp guy, and he has many great content on the website. So just get and check it out. And are you here, Caleb?
I am.
Awesome. How's it going today?
Oh, pretty good.
It's an exciting conversation, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
far.
I like security is really where it's at for me. I just saw such a need, and I've got a passion for it. It's just everybody needs it, and not enough people are doing it well. And I think, you know, from a moral soapbox standpoint, we need to do a better job as technology providers in helping establish a baseline security level across clients, because we are customers of the same people that we're serving.
Caleb, we had this conversation 3 or 4 weeks ago, and the big aha moment for me was like when you said cybersecurity is not an IT problem. Cybersecurity is a business problem and a communication problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's so true. I didn't realize that it's really a business conversation and the communication problem. Can you show us like how you teach your MSPs to change the conversation? What type of stories they say? What type of communication patterns you can use with clients to understand that what is included to your package, what should be included to different IT security, framing the need from for higher security offering, and how to monetize on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so part of the problem with security is that it's one of those distant concepts that doesn't come home for everybody. It just doesn't make sense. And so I've pushed forward really hard on, hey, let's make security make sense to people. One of my mentors says, make sense, make decisions, make actions. You can't take an action until you've made a decision. You can't decide until you've made sense of something. So we have to demystify security. And I do that with an educational campaign, essentially, which I can present to the MSP or to the end client. My goal, though, is to train MSPs to make security make sense to their customers so that then they can sell it. So
we included to our new QBR report, which is going to come out later this week. I was begging for you to share this. I know it's one of your key components, but it's like, please give us how to get to this quarter business review. Can you walk through us a little bit of what the type of easy conversation you should do as an MSP with your clients to make sure that's gonna the way you're going to go?
Yeah, so here, you've got it on the screen. This is the super short version of making security make sense for somebody. But essentially, the short version of the security lifecycle is that you protect systems, data, people, etc. You detect problems that do occur, and then you have to respond to problems that you've detected. But here's the thing, you can't respond to something that you haven't first detected. So detection becomes really important. So let's look through a scenario. Use the little I buttons at the bottom, for number one.
Yep.
So if we have a scenario of a fire, some of the things you do to protect your home are you put up a fence. You don't want people getting in. You use contractors who are certified, and I mean the government tries to help you with that by making electrical code. So you've got a house that's got good wiring, etc.
It's an easy concept for a client to get, yes, this is how I protect my home.
Now, when we're doing this with a client, though, what we focus on, hey, this is your home. So the scenario is you want to protect your home from fires, in this case, and you have code compliant electrical, and you're very careful not to have grease fires and other stuff that goes on, right? So that's our scenario. Let's go on to step 2. You have to detect problems that do happen. Well, you know what? Protection always fails eventually. Are there house fires? Yes. So even though you're careful, problems are going to happen. So other things you could do to detect, monitor, watch cameras or set up notifications, etc. So some people have the Ring doorbells, and it pops on their phone if somebody knocks on the door. There's lots of ways to detect problems. In our scenario though, because you're extremely careful, you decide your nose is a good enough detection mechanism for there's a fire, right? But eventually there is a house fire, and it does take a little while for your nose to detect the problem.
Okay.
That doesn't seem very practical, but we'll see how it makes sense in a second. Let's move on to respond. We respond only once we've detected a problem. So in that scenario, it took your nose a little too long to detect the problem. And now, instead of a response option being, hey, I'm going to get a fire extinguisher and go put this little flame out, now you have to evacuate and call the fire department and watch your house burn from the street. So it turns out your nose was not a very effective detective mechanism. Now, a smoke detector would have been very helpful because it would have alerted you right away. Why aren't we doing that on our networks? What are you doing to detect problems on your network? If you wouldn't protect your house with your nose, why do you rely on people noticing things to detect signs of a breach or malware, etc.?
And you can talk about, okay, how we do prevent your network today. And that's like no fence, no code, nothing, open doors, anybody can go anywhere, like no detection, just if somebody show up and see what's going on, and respond is going to be like hard and super expensive.
Right. So are you going to stand on the street, you know, in figurative terms, are you going to stand on the street and watch your network burn, your data burn out on the dark web? Is it going to get that far before you can respond? Or are you going to detect a problem and stop it before it gets all the way out? So once you make it make sense with the house model, then you can start having real practical technical discussions with the customer.
And I like these type of discussion points you have more about who is the custodian of the data, like the MSP, who is the security expert, and who is owning the data, and put those different things separately to actually define those roles. You need service, and that makes sense that you do not have those services yet. And we might do that as well, additional $25 a month or something like that, but that's not part of what we do right now. That's really, really, really interesting. Anything else to share? Because I know that you have a ton of stuff inside this as well, but any other thoughts for today?
Yeah, I just want to highlight that what we need to do, so MSPs, I've seen a lot of MSPs that just don't do security well, and it's okay if you're going to start making improvements. And so my goal is to coach MSPs through, hey, let's make a security sale, let's do an assessment, and let's start getting you remediation projects in the door.
Yes.
Because you just have to start somewhere, and everybody's got a client that they can say, hey, work with me. I want to get better at security, and I know you need it. Let's work together and get to that goal. And once you've nailed it with one, you can start replicating to the next customer and the next customer. So you start with education, you sell an assessment, you do the assessment, and then you perform remediation projects, and you make money the whole way.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because like most people who doesn't have this clarification, they shy to ask money, and they have to do really vague type of projects all over the place. It's not standard expectations, not too much work, not getting paid. It's just like shooting on your own foot, right? So it's
and you shouldn't have to guilt a customer into buying security. If it makes sense, they can make a good decision and then start taking action.
Just help them to make that good decision. Caleb, awesome. Thank you very much. And guys, you are going to be able to get these visuals here, even videos and everything, calculators for downtime calculation, things like that from Caleb. So if you want to have a chat with him, just check the chat. And we are moving